I married my brother's ex. 15 years later, her lie almost killed me. Hey Reddit, buckle in. I never thought I'd be the one writing one of these posts, but here we are. I, 38M, have been married to my wife, 36F, for almost 15 years. We have a 13-year-old son together. Or, well, that's what I thought until about a month ago. This isn't some short-term dating drama, this is years of my life. This is family-level betrayal, the kind that rewires your entire brain. But first, some background. My wife, let's call her Anna, used to date my older brother Paul. They were together for about 3 years in their early 20s. It wasn't a great relationship. Lots of fighting, jealousy, drama. My brother was kind of a wild card, fast cars, fast girls, fast death. Yeah, he died in a motorcycle crash in his late 20s. Anna and I reconnected after the funeral. She was a mess. I was there. One thing led to another. You get the idea? We got close fast. Our relationship was intense. She had this magnetic energy, funny, sharp-tongued, sexy as hell, and honestly, a little mean sometimes. But I chalked it up to grief. To trauma. To her having a hard past. 8 months after the funeral, our son was born. It felt like the universe was giving my broken family a second chance, a reason to smile again. Everyone was thrilled. I thought, this is it. A new life. A clean start. We got married before our son was born. Moved into a decent house in the suburbs. She took care of the home. I worked my ass off. I did all the things a man's supposed to do. Put the ring on, paid the bills, kissed her goodnight even when we fought. But man, over the years, there were cracks. She'd make these comments, little jabs about how I wasn't as fun as Paul. She'd laugh too long at jokes from other men. She got into these weird girls' nights with her coworkers where they'd dress up in outfits that looked more escort agency than brunch club. She started pushing boundaries, subtly at first. What's wrong with a little erotic movie? It's just art. You're so insecure, babe. Let me live. I let it slide. Every time. Because I loved her. Because I thought I was being too sensitive. Because she made me feel like questioning her was a weakness. Then, a few months ago, our son, who I've raised and loved and taught how to ride a bike and kissed on the forehead every damn night, got sick. Nothing life-threatening, thank God, but he needed a blood transfusion. I volunteered immediately. Of course I did. I'm his dad. That's when the hospital told me something was off with our blood types. That's when the world stopped. So yeah, the blood types didn't match. I didn't panic right away. I figured maybe I remembered wrong. Maybe they mixed something up. So I asked the nurse to double-check. She looked at me like she was scared to answer, like she was about to drop a bomb she didn't want to touch. I'm sorry, Mr. Thomas, but your blood type is O negative. Your son's is AB positive. That's genetically impossible for you to be his biological father. I don't remember much after that. I walked out of that hospital room like a zombie. Sat in the parking garage for 40 minutes with the engine running, just staring at the concrete wall. You ever feel your heart snap? Not break, snap, like a wire going taut for too long and finally popping? That was me. When I got home, I didn't even go inside. I sat in the car again. Watching the front door. Watching the light in the kitchen. Watching her move around like nothing was wrong. And then I did what no one wants to admit they did. I snooped. I opened our shared laptop. She always logged into her email and socials from it. I wasn't expecting to find much, just wanted to see if there were any medical notes. Maybe she already knew something. That was the lie I told myself. But what I found instead? A hidden folder on the desktop named Work Docs. Inside? Photos. Soft nudes. Her, in a mirror, half-dressed in black lace lingerie I never saw her wear for me. Her, kissing another woman in what looked like some kind of club or private event. Her, straddling a dude in a pool, both of them drunk and grinning. There were messages, too. Emails. One was titled, Erotica Night, RSVP confirmed, and included a flyer for something called The Velvet Room. Another had her giggling in typed form about watching those French pornos that make 50 Shades look like Disney. She told her friend, Paul always knew how to touch me. Tom's sweet, but he's just so boring. I miss feeling. You know? Paul. My brother. My dead brother. That was the moment it clicked. She didn't just cheat now. She cheated then, while Paul was still alive. And I had been raising his son. I waited until the next morning. I couldn't sleep. Just laid there in our bed, staring at the ceiling while she slept next to me like it was the most peaceful night of her life. It made me sick. I watched the rise and fall of her chest, and wondered if it was rising and falling the same way when she moaned for my brother. Yeah, I went there. My mind was spiraling. When the sun came up, I made coffee. Set the mug down in front of her like it was any other day. She came into the kitchen in her robe, kissed me on the cheek like she hadn't been lying to me for over a decade. I let her take a sip. Then I hit her with it. Is our son Paul's? Her whole body stiffened. It was like watching someone hit pause on a movie. What? She said, blinking. You heard me. Don't play dumb. Is he Paul's? She stared at me for a long second and then actually laughed. Like this wasn't real. Like I was the clown in some absurd drama. That's insane, Tom. Hospital says I can't be the father. Blood types don't match. You want to explain how that works? That shut her up. Her mouth opened a little. Her eyes twitched. And then? Then came the performance. Waterworks. Crocodile tears. Oh my God, I didn't know. And maybe it was a mistake at the hospital. And I swear to you, it was only one time, and it was before we ever got serious. I wasn't buying a word of it. I said, so the photos, the parties, the French porn, the lingerie, the emails about how Paul knew how to touch you, all that's just fantasy, huh? She went pale. She knew I saw it all. And then she flipped. Like a switch. The tears dried up, the voice turned cold. Oh, grow up, Tom. Everyone has secrets. Everyone has fantasies. You're not exactly a sex god, okay? Maybe if you hadn't been so dull, I wouldn't have had to get attention elsewhere. That hit like a punch to the chest. But I stayed quiet. Just nodded. Took one last sip of my coffee and said, Thanks for clearing that up. Then I grabbed my keys and left. I drove until I hit the state line. Didn't have a destination. Just needed distance. Gas station bathrooms. Cheap motel rooms. Crappy diner coffee. I lived like a ghost for a week. No calls. No texts. I let the silence do the talking. You want to know what heartbreak really feels like? It's not the screaming. It's not the betrayal. It's the quiet. The absolute stillness of realizing your whole life was built on someone else's lie, and no one came to tell you the truth. Not her. Not my dead brother. Not even my own damn instincts. I looked at photos on my phone, my son at age 5, grinning with chocolate on his cheeks. Me teaching him how to tie his shoes. Camping trips. Lego builds. First day of school. And every time I saw his smile, I wondered, did he get that from Paul? That question, it gutted me. Over and over. Because I loved that kid like he was my blood. Hell, I thought he was. I taught him how to ride a bike, for God's sake. I stayed up with him when he had nightmares. I was there for the flu, the broken arm, the skinned knees, the spelling bees. I was there for all of it. And now I couldn't even look at him without seeing a ghost. The grief was real. But it wasn't for my marriage. It was for the version of me that thought he was living an honest life. That guy died in that hospital waiting room. I started second-guessing everything. My worth. My body. My sex life. Was I never enough for her? Was I just safe? Convenient? Was I the fallback plan when her wild ride with Paul crashed and burned? I didn't feel like a man. I felt like a stand-in. And let me tell you, that'll hollow you out. So after a week in exile I came back. Not for her. For my son. Or our son. Or Paul's son. Whatever label you want to slap on it, I came back because that boy didn't ask for any of this. He didn't lie to me. He didn't cheat on me. He just wanted his dad, the only one he's ever known. But I didn't tell her I was coming. I waited until 7 p.m. on a Friday, when I knew she'd be home. Knocked once. She opened the door wearing yoga pants, messy bun, that fake surprise smile she uses when she thinks she still has leverage. Oh, you're back. Not I missed you. Not how are you. Just that. Yeah. I'm here for my son. Where is he? In his room. Watching TV. I walked past her like she wasn't there. She tried to follow, tried to talk. I held up a hand. Not now. He looked up when I opened the door. His face lit up. Dad! I almost lost it. Right then. But I kept it together. Hugged him. Ruffled his hair. Told him we'd go out for ice cream later. Then I kissed his forehead and went back to the kitchen. Now here's where it gets interesting. She was already on the defensive. I told you the truth. You have no right to just disappear and come back like. I cut her off. I've spoken to a lawyer. She blinked. I'm filing for divorce. We'll do a paternity test to make everything official, and I'm pursuing joint custody, because I've raised him, and I'm not walking away from him. You! I'm done with. Her jaw dropped. But I wasn't finished. I've also gathered everything. The emails, the photos, the credit card statements for that hotel in Chicago. Yeah, I know about that too. And no, I'm not blackmailing you. I'm protecting myself. You don't get to paint me as the villain in your next little sob story. She started crying. But not the, I'm sorry, kind. The oh shit, I'm losing control. Kind. You're ruining this family. No, Anna. You ruined it. I'm just finally letting it fall. And I walked out again, but this time I smiled. After dropping that verbal sledgehammer, I gave myself space. But not silence. I went full tactical. I started making moves she didn't see coming. First, I closed our joint bank account and transferred my paychecks into a new one. Legally, I kept enough in the shared account to show I wasn't trying to financially abuse her, just enough to keep the lawyers happy and the lights on. But I made it clear, she'd need to fend for herself soon. Next, I met with my lawyer again. The guy was a beast, I mean the kind who can peel skin off with legal language. He helped me draft the custody motion, and since I'd been the primary financial provider and consistent parental figure, I had a rock-solid case. I even started logging everything. Days I picked up our son. Nights I stayed over when he was sick. Texts where she admitted to emotional confusion, and the infamous line, I didn't know how to tell you he might not be yours. Boom. Documented. Now here's where it got spicy. I started talking to people. Her friends. Her co-workers. You know what happens when you start asking gentle questions? The cracks start to leak. One of her old co-workers, we'll call her Mandy, told me about an art party Anna went to last year where everyone wore masks and not much else. Another friend mentioned how Anna used to brag about how easily she could manipulate men. She always said if a man worships you too much, he's not your partner, he's your puppet. Nice, huh? Then came the cherry. I got an anonymous message through Facebook. Some guy she'd apparently flirted with, and dumped, messaged me screenshots from 2011. Back when she and I were newly married. Her in lingerie saying, my husband's sweet, but boring. You though, you're fire. Same damn line she used in that email about Paul. She recycled her seduction the way most people recycle paper towels. So I printed it all out. Neatly. Put it in a folder. Handed it to my lawyer. And then I sat back, waited for our court date, and watched her world begin to implode. So, Anna found out I wasn't just rolling over. And that's when the real mask dropped. She went full scorched earth. First came the gaslighting texts. "You're turning our son against me. You're overreacting. It was one mistake." When I didn't bite, she escalated. She called my job. Yeah. Told my HR department I was emotionally unstable and that she feared for her safety. Problem for her? I work in a company where half the leadership team has gone through nasty divorces. They smelled the BS immediately. My boss literally pulled me into his office and said, "She's trying to go nuclear. Stay smart." Then she tried the sympathy route, made a Facebook post about abandonment, how some people give up on you the second you're not perfect, and how she's just trying to protect her child. Cue the vague book likes and support comments from people who don't know the real story. So I posted once. One simple line. Protecting your child starts with honesty. Especially about who his real father is. And then I logged off. She lost it. Called me screaming. Accused me of destroying her reputation. Said I was airing private business. I didn't say a word back. I just texted her a photo of the court notice, paternity testing and custody hearing scheduled. Boom. The next day, she showed up at my apartment, banging on the door, crying. No makeup. Hoodie and sweatpants. Hair a mess. She looked like someone pulled the batteries out of her personality. "Tom, please. I made mistakes. But I never meant to hurt you like this." I stood in the doorway, arms crossed. "And you know what I said? You didn't just cheat on me. You robbed me of the truth. You built a lie and called it love. And now? You're mad the bill finally came due." She didn't say another word. Just turned and walked away. I shut the door. And locked it. That was the last time she ever came to my place. Court day. It's surreal walking into a building knowing your entire identity, husband, father, man, is about to be weighed and measured. I sat on that hard bench in a pressed shirt and clean shave, trying to steady my breathing, while Anna showed up in her usual butter wouldn't melt outfit. Light makeup, neutral blouse, like she was the poster child for composed mothers everywhere. But her eyes? Panic. Pure, cornered panic. My lawyer was calm. He'd seen it all before. "Just let the papers speak," he said. And then, the paternity test came in. The bailiff passed copies to the judge, the lawyers, then us. I didn't even need to read past the first line. Probability of paternity 0%. Let me say that again. 0. Not low. Not unlikely. 0. My heart didn't drop. It already had weeks ago. This was just confirmation, a receipt printed from the broken vending machine of my marriage. Anna gasped. Not because she was shocked, but because she realized the room now knew what she had buried for 15 years. She started crying. Loud. Fake. "My God! I didn't think. I mean, I suspected, but..." The judge raised a hand. "Mrs. Thomas, this is not the time for emotional commentary." And right then, I swear to God, she looked at me like she wanted to throw the whole bench at my head. Not because she was sorry, but because I didn't save her. Because I didn't cover for her one last time. And that's when it hit me, she really thought I'd protect her. Even now. Even after everything. I asked the court to recognize that, biologically or not, I had raised our son and had been the only father he'd ever known. The judge nodded and said the court would consider my parental rights separate from biological ties since I was named on the birth certificate and had been the sole provider since birth. Anna tried to object. Said I wasn't emotionally stable enough to parent solo. My lawyer handed over her emails, messages, and photos, all that velvet-laced, mask-wearing, strip club at the friend's house shit she'd been doing while, emotionally unavailable, me was packing school lunches. You ever watched someone's face deflate? Her mouth literally fell open. Judge skimmed the papers, raised one eyebrow, and said, "I think it's clear who's been unstable." Boom. After the courtroom demolition, things moved fast. The judge granted me de facto parental rights pending further review, which meant, for now, I had legal standing to co-parent. Anna's face went white when she heard that. Not because she didn't want me involved, but because she realized she couldn't use our son as leverage anymore. She had nothing left to hold over me. We exited the courthouse into separate worlds. She stormed out first, heels clicking like an angry metronome. I walked behind her, calm as a monk, folder tucked under my arm, my lawyer nodding like we just won state championship. But the real fireworks started the next day. First, the school called me. Apparently, Anna showed up ranting in the principal's office about dangerous influences, and tried to change the school pickup arrangements to exclude me. Principal said she caused a scene. They had to call security to escort her out after she shouted, "He's not even the real father!" Yeah. In front of the admin staff. Real Mother of the Year stuff. Then came the texts. "You're poisoning him against me. I can't believe how cruel you've become. Do you want him to grow up hating his own mother?" I didn't respond. I didn't need to. Because my son? He was asking questions. He knew something was wrong. Kids always do. He sat on my couch one night, picking at a pizza crust, and said, "Is Mom mad because you found out something bad?" I didn't lie to him. But I didn't give him the whole twisted mess either. I just said, "Sometimes grown-ups lie because they're afraid. But being afraid doesn't make it okay." He looked at me for a long time, then nodded. Quiet. Later, I heard him on his phone, talking to a friend. "Yeah, I'm staying with my dad for a while. It's way better here. Mom's been acting weird." She was spiraling. Fast. And when her boss called to ask if I was okay, apparently she missed 2 shifts and broke down crying in the middle of a meeting, that's when I knew. Her whole world was unraveling. Not because I made it happen, but because she built it out of lies, and expected me to hold it up forever. After everything, the courtroom, the truth bombs, the shattered home, I expected to feel empty. But you know what? I felt free. Not instantly. At first, there was this numb space where pain used to live. Like my body hadn't caught up to the reality that I was no longer tied to the woman who used my loyalty like toilet paper. But then the numbness faded, and something else settled in. Clarity. I got a new apartment. Nothing flashy, just a 2-bedroom near a park. Bright windows. Quiet neighbors. For the first time in years, I didn't feel like I had to tiptoe around someone's moods. No side-eye over how I folded laundry. No sarcastic digs when I didn't initiate enough. No fights over fantasy lingerie sets she bought with my money to wear for other men. I started going to the gym again. Not revenge body stuff, just movement. Therapy too. And let me tell you, the first session felt like opening a drain that had been clogged for a decade. I told the therapist everything. How Anna always compared me to Paul. How she turned sex into a weapon, withholding it when she wanted power, overdoing it when she needed cover. How I always felt like I was auditioning for a part in my own marriage. How I convinced myself I had to earn love that should have been given freely. And the therapist just nodded and said, "It sounds like you were groomed to accept scraps and call it a meal." Damn. That line hit hard. But it also stuck with me. Because it made me angry. In a good way. I started keeping a journal. Not for her. Not for the court. Just for me. I wrote down every time I bit my tongue, every time I let her win because it was easier than fighting, every moment I traded self-respect for peace. And you know what I saw? A pattern. She didn't want a partner. She wanted a fan club. And the day I stopped clapping, her world cracked. It happened on a Tuesday. Nothing dramatic, no thunderclap or heartfelt speech. Just me and my son sitting on the floor in my new apartment, sorting through a box of old stuff I took when I moved out. We were laughing at this ridiculous photo, him as a toddler wearing a diaper, cowboy boots and a Batman mask. I told him he used to demand I call him Sheriff Batman for an entire month. He laughed so hard he snorted. Then he got quiet. And he looked at me, really looked at me, and said, "Dad, you're still my dad, right? Even if, you know, that blood stuff?" I swear time stopped. I didn't cry. I didn't stammer. I just looked him in the eyes and said, "Hey, I'm your dad every single day I wake up and choose to be. And I'm never not choosing you." He nodded once. Then he hugged me. Hard. Arms tight around my neck, his little body pressing against mine in that way kids do when they don't just want comfort, they need to feel it's real. That moment made the entire nightmare worth surviving. Because no matter what Anna did, she couldn't rewrite this. She couldn't fake the sleep I lost when he had asthma attacks, or the night I sat on the bathroom floor holding a cold rag to his fevered head, or the time I stood up at school when he was scared to read out loud and said, "Go ahead, buddy, I'm right here." That's fatherhood. Not blood. Not biology. Just love. And presence. And truth. She gave me lies. But he gave me purpose. About 3 weeks after the court hearing, just when I thought the drama had cooled off, Anna tried one last swing. I got an email from a mutual acquaintance. Subject line: "Dude, have you seen this?" Attached was a screenshot of a post from one of those local Facebook mom groups. You know, the "we drink wine and overshare about our divorces" kind. And there she was, Anna, under her full name, telling a very edited version of our story. She claimed I emotionally manipulated her, weaponized the court system, and that I was demanding rights to a child that wasn't even mine just to punish her for a mistake. She even threw in the classic: "He's not abusive, but he knows how to twist a knife." You ever feel rage and laughter hit at the same time? That was me. Because this wasn't about her being hurt. This was her trying to rewrite the script so she didn't have to be the villain in her own story. But what she didn't count on. I wasn't the only one who saw it. A few of her old friends who had quietly ghosted her during all this, started commenting. One wrote, "Didn't you tell us you weren't even sure of who the dad was?" Another, "Wasn't this the same guy you cheated on with his dead brother?" Then came the receipts. Screenshots. Comments. Questions. The post got ratioed so hard she took it down within 2 hours. Later that night she texted me. "Happy now? Everyone thinks I'm a monster." I replied with just 4 words. "You made your bed." And then I blocked her. No drama. No fight. Just closure. Real, silent, devastating closure. Because here's the thing, the truth always floats. You can bury it under lies, dress it up with lipstick and Instagram filters, but eventually, it finds its way to the surface. And when it does, it's not angry. It's not loud. It just stands there, steady as stone, saying, "I told you so." For the first time in over a decade, I woke up without checking my phone in a panic. No cryptic texts. No emotional landmines. No cold silence from the other side of the bed. Just the sound of a ceiling fan, soft sunlight through the blinds, and the distant purr of my coffee machine starting up. I stood in my kitchen that morning, sipping coffee in nothing but a t-shirt and boxers, and realized this is what peace feels like. Not the peace you get from avoiding conflict. The peace you earn by burning down a house full of lies and walking away with the only thing that mattered, your self-respect, intact. I wasn't lonely. I wasn't broken. I was alone. And that, for once, felt like freedom, not failure. I started writing again. Little things at first, short stories, journal entries, a blog no one reads but me. I started going to trivia nights with coworkers. I volunteered at my kid's school, helped set up a science fair project, and watched him beam with pride when his volcano exploded perfectly. His teacher told me, "He talks about you constantly. You're his hero." And yeah, I cried in the parking lot afterward. Not because I was sad, but because I'd finally let go of needing Anna's version of me. I stopped auditioning for a love that never truly existed and started showing up for the love that did. From my son. From my friends. And finally, from myself. It happened at the grocery store. Yep, not some cinematic rooftop moment or artsy coffee shop meet-cute. Just me, pushing a cart full of kid snacks and toilet paper, when I heard a voice behind me say, "Tom?" I turned. And there she was. Melissa. She and I dated way back, before Anna, before the mess. We were young, dumb, and way too serious for two people barely old enough to rent a car. It didn't end badly. It just faded when life pulled us in different directions. She looked grounded. The kind of pretty that doesn't try. Jeans, no makeup, hair pulled back, and eyes that still had that same spark I remembered. We talked. First right there in the cereal aisle. Then over coffee. Then a walk around the park. We didn't bring up the past much. Just talked about now. Life. Work. Her rescue dog named Pancake. My son's obsession with space. It wasn't fireworks. It wasn't some grand "she saved me" narrative. It was just easy. She asked about the divorce eventually. I didn't give her the full novel, just the back cover summary. She didn't flinch. Didn't pity me. She just said, "Damn. You've been through it. And you're still standing. That says something." No one had said that to me before. That night, I didn't rush to text her. I wasn't desperate. I wasn't lonely. But I did smile. Because for the first time in forever, I felt like the man I was before Anna. And better still, the man I became after. It's been almost a year now. The dust has settled. The lawyers are done. My son's with me most weeks, and when he's not, he texts me updates about his day, random memes, and that time he got detention for making a rocket out of a water bottle that hit his teacher's car. We laughed. Quietly. Anna moved to a smaller apartment across town. She still tries the occasional guilt trip, but she knows it doesn't land anymore. Our conversations are strictly about our kid. No more jabs. No more manipulation. I respond like she's a business associate I didn't choose but am legally obligated to deal with. Professional. Cold. Boundaried. And that feels good. Melissa and I still talk. We're not rushing anything. I'm not looking to slap a new name over old wounds. But it's different with her, simple, honest. No games, no power plays. If nothing comes of it, that's okay too. Because I'm finally not afraid of being alone. Hell, I like who I am now. So here's the part where I give advice, the reason most people read these posts. If you're in a relationship that makes you question your worth, your sanity, your gut, please hear me. That's not love. Love doesn't demand you shrink yourself to stay safe. Love doesn't make you beg for the truth. Love doesn't cheat and call it a mistake. And if you've been betrayed, really betrayed, let me say this, your pain is valid. You're not weak for being hurt. You're not stupid for trusting. You're human. But don't stay stuck in the wreckage trying to rebuild a house that was built on quicksand. Walk out. Even if your knees shake. Even if you cry the whole damn way. Because what's on the other side is you. Stronger. Smarter. Free. I'm not the man I was when this started. And thank God for that. I have many other stories. Go to my channel, subscribe so you don't lose us. Give me a thumbs up.